Stretching doesn't fix sitting. The stretching trap. You stretch for 10 minutes, then you sit for 8 to 10 hours a day. And you start to wonder why nothing changes. Here's what I'm going to map out today: why stretching alone can't undo prolonged sitting, and why the real fix is restarting your body in reverse order, not stretching what's already shut down. This isn't a mobility problem you haven't solved yet, it's a signal problem, and stretching sends the wrong signal. Most people have stretched the same 3 muscles for years with zero permanent change, and that's not a discipline issue. Now, why this doesn't work. Stretching a tight muscle to fix a positional problem is like ironing a shirt that's still wet. It looks fine for a minute, then creases right back up the second you move. Sitting isn't a flexibility problem, it's a positional problem that cascades into a shutdown. So stretching only ever touches the symptom at the end of the chain. A muscle isn't necessarily tight because it's short. It's tight because your brain is holding tension there on purpose, usually to compensate for a joint that isn't stable. Now, stretching a hip flexor that's now guarding an unstable pelvis, your body just retightens it within the hour. That's why it never sticks. So we're going to go over here to the sitting shutdown cascade. Sitting posture. Now, this is where it starts, and nobody really argues here. We have thoracic rounding. Your upper back rounds forward to hold that position for hours. This isn't passive. Your deep spinal stabilizers switch off because the rib cage is locked in a flexed position they can't work from. Next, we have shoulder rotation. Rounded thoracic spine pulls your shoulders internally rotated. This isn't a shoulder problem, it's a downstream of your spine. This is why shoulder mobility drills alone don't fix rounded shoulders. You're stretching a joint that's just following orders from your spine. Glute and core shutdown follows. By the time it reaches your hips, your core and glutes have already been told they're not needed. That's the shutdown. Your core's job is to stabilize a neutral spine. In a rounded position, there's no neutral spine to stabilize, so the core goes quiet by default. This is why stretching your hip flexors or your chest doesn't hold. You're stretching node 4 while node 1 is still active. Now I'm going to go over 3 tests that you can do on your own. Test number 1 is thoracic rotation. Can you rotate your upper back without your lower back taking over? If your lower back rotates first, your thoracic spine has been locked so long that your body's borrowing range from a joint that isn't built to rotate. Shoulder flexion overhead test is number 2. Raise your arm overhead against the wall. If your lower back arches before your arm gets there, your shoulder rotation is compensating. That arch that you see is your body finding range somewhere else because the true range through the shoulder blade is locking out. Test number 3, your glute bridge activation test. If you feel this in your hamstrings before your glutes, the shutdown already reached your hips. Hamstrings taking over a glute dominant movement is a classic sign your brain rerouted the job to a muscle it trusts more. Whichever one fails first tells you where your chain actually broke. Now, we're going to go over the restart sequence. It happens in reverse. You don't start at the bottom of the cascade. You start at the bottom wherever your diagnostic failed. So you don't start at the top, you start at the bottom wherever your diagnostic failed. The restart always runs in reverse of how the shutdown happened. First, we reactivate the glutes and the core. This reestablishes a stable base your spine can trust, which is the actual prerequisite for your shoulder rotation to return. Next, we restore shoulder rotation second. Now that the base is stable, the shoulder can rotate without recruiting the low back. Then, thoracic rounding unwinds last, almost passively, once the 2 joints below and around it stop needing it to compensate. So this right here is the entire picture. The left hand side, the sitting shutdown cascade, is what 8 to 10 hours of sitting does in order. On the right is the restart in reverse. If you sit most of the day and feel stiff no matter how much you stretch, then this is why. If you're interested in learning more, send me a message on Instagram with the word restore. Or if you're interested in learning more about my one-on-one coaching to see if you're qualified for it, I don't accept everybody. It needs to make sense for both of us. Click in the description below to book a call with me. We can understand where you're at now and where you want to be in the next couple months. We need to restore proper movement in the body and get your body working with you instead of against you. Let's fix your pain and find your purpose again.